Think about this. If Chip's Hotel Group wins, can any company sue if the minimum wage is hiked? Dan Conaway says we'll definitely see more lawsuits. That's probably an understatement, huh, Dan?
Yes, Neil, I think it is. This is just going to be the precursor to more and more lawsuits as individual cities target different industries to raise wages to ultimately try to force an increase in the national minimum wage. And the type of tactics like used in this particular case, where there's really an extortionist element to this, where essentially, as Chip was saying, if you're not willing to have your workers be part of the union, then you're forced to undergo all of the requirements of this new law. It's basically saying, look, you either do what we want you to do and make your workers join the union, or forget about it. We've got this nice law here that's only going to apply to you. And that's not particularly or really equal protection under the law, I would argue. And so therefore, this is not a fair law. And I think it may run afoul of constitutional and labor standards.
But as smart guys like you will remind me, Dan, I mean, we have different wage rates across the country. They're very low right now in North Dakota, very high in Southern California. So business can gravitate to the areas it wants, recognizing full well the cost of doing business in those areas.
Yes, which means that ultimately you could lose jobs in a place like Los Angeles. And remember, this is not just...
But that's your ultimate weapon, right? If you think about it, then all right, these cities, municipalities that want to push this on businesses have the final measure here. They can just say the hell with you and go.
Exactly. And it doesn't just, we're not just talking about the people that work for the hotel or for the hotel owners. We're talking about small businesses, suppliers, distributors, their employees who provide services to these hotels. And a lot of these may be cut out because if you have to pay more for one sector of your business, then the natural thing to do is cut something else out. So perhaps there'll be a loss of jobs with perhaps to a supplier or a cutback in hours. And so ultimately, when you get this kind of coercive measure specifically targeted against one particular industry in one particular city, backed by a city council that, quite frankly, probably has money donated to it by the unions, to give unions more power, it's just not a good thing for anyone ultimately, even though it might benefit the workers a little bit in the short run at the hotel. Ultimately, it hurts everyone.
Well, yeah, if you're going to do it for everyone, it was one thing. But if you're just targeting one industry, that is a little wacky. We'll watch it closely. Dan Conaway, thank you very, very much.
Pleasure.